Every Friday evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, a woman named Clara stood outside the old saloon in the heart of the small town of Pine Hollow. Clara was in her 30s, with long chestnut hair that cascaded down her back in soft waves. She often wore a simple blue dress that contrasted beautifully with her fair skin and dark curls. As townsfolk bustled past her, she seemed like a statue, still and quiet, yet full of unspoken stories. The saloon was a lively place, filled with laughter and music that spilled out into the dusty street. It was where friends gathered, and tales were told over mugs of frothy beer. Men in dusty boots and women in colorful dresses danced to the lively tunes played by a local band. But amid this joy and chaos, Clara remained an outsider. Every week, she watched as her neighbors entered the saloon, their faces bright with anticipation. Clara had her reasons for standing there, though no one quite understood them. Some said she was waiting for someone, while others believed she was simply too shy to step inside. In truth, it was a mix of both. A longing for connection mixed with a fear of facing the unknown. With each passing Friday, she felt more like a ghost, drifting at the edge of laughter, caught between two worlds, the vibrant inside and her solitary vigil outside. The saloon in Pine Hollow was more than just a place to drink. It was the beating heart of the town. Inside, warm light flickered from oil lamps, casting a golden glow over the wooden walls and polished bar. The sound of laughter mingled with lively music from a small band tucked in the corner, creating a welcoming atmosphere that drew in all sorts of people. Farmers in dusty hats shared tales of their week while wiping sweat from their brows. Young couples danced close together, their smiles reflecting the happiness of youth. Old-timers sat at the bar, swapping stories and reminiscing about days gone by, while women in vibrant dresses filled the room with chatter and clinking glasses. The scent of roasted nuts and spilled beer hung in the air, giving the saloon a cozy familiarity that lured everyone back week after week. For many, this place offered an escape from daily life, a chance to let loose and be part of something bigger. The saloon buzzed with energy as people forged connections, celebrated milestones, and developed friendships that lasted for years. It was where news traveled faster than anywhere else, and community bonds were strengthened over shared experiences. Yet for Clara, looking in from the outside, it seemed like a world apart. The joy and camaraderie inside only deepened her sense of isolation as she yearned to join but felt trapped by her own hesitations. The saloon stood as both a symbol of belonging for others and a reminder of what she felt she could not reach. As Clara stood outside the saloon, she felt a magnetic pull drawing her closer, even as her feet stayed firmly planted on the ground. Each Friday, the sounds of laughter and music reached her ears like an inviting melody, and she could almost envision herself joining in, surrounded by friends and warmth. Yet, something held her back, a mix of uncertainty and fear that gnawed at her heart. Watching her neighbors enter, Clara noticed how their faces lit up with excitement. She longed for that thrill but couldn't shake the feeling that she didn't belong in their world. What if they saw her as an outsider? What if they laughed at her hesitation? These thoughts swirled in her mind like autumn leaves caught in the wind, swirling and never settling. As she gazed through the saloon's open door, Clara felt a longing that was both thrilling and painful. She imagined herself sharing stories over drinks or dancing under the soft glow of lanterns, but reality always pulled her back. Each laugh from inside struck a chord deep within her, reminding her of the connections she yearned for but couldn't reach. Clara's heart was a jumble of emotions: desire, doubt, and a flicker of hope. The saloon represented everything she wished for, a place where laughter flowed freely, but it also highlighted what she lacked: courage. Each week, as she waited outside, she wondered if this Friday might finally be different or if it would end like all the others, just another night spent watching life pass by without her. As Clara stood outside the saloon, memories began to flood her mind like a distant song. She could recall the last time she had entered those lively doors, a warm Friday night when laughter filled the air. She had been with a close friend, a vibrant woman named Lily, who had always encouraged her to let loose and enjoy life. Clara remembered how exhilarating it felt to dance under the glow of the lanterns, surrounded by jubilant friends. But that night took a turn when a group of rowdy patrons misinterpreted Clara's laughter, twisting it into mockery. Their jeers echoed in her ears, and she felt her heart sink as she realized they weren't laughing with her but at her. The embarrassment wrapped around her like a heavy cloak, making her retreat into herself. From that moment on, the saloon transformed in her mind from a place of joy to a source of anxiety. She also remembered the time when she sat alone in a corner, nursing a drink while observing from a distance. A kind man had approached her, attempting to strike up a conversation. Just as she started to feel comfortable, someone nearby made an offhand comment about her being a loner, which shattered her confidence once more. These moments haunted her thoughts as she waited outside each week. The saloon held both beautiful memories and painful reminders, filling her with a longing to belong while keeping her shackled by fear of ridicule. Clara's past experiences intertwined with each Friday night, amplifying her reluctance to step inside and join the crowd. As Clara stood lost in her thoughts outside the saloon, she barely noticed when her friend, Jake, approached. He was a familiar face in Pine Hollow, known for his easy smile and friendly nature. "Hey, Clara, what are you doing out here again?" he asked, tilting his head to get a better look at her. Clara forced a smile, trying to mask her unease. "Just watching," she replied softly, glancing toward the lively scene inside. Jake frowned, stepping closer. You don't have to stay out here. We'd love to see you in there." "I don't know, Jake," Clara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's just easier out here." She felt a wave of embarrassment wash over her as she spoke. Jake crossed his arms and leaned against the wooden railing. "Easier or safer? You've got to stop letting those old memories hold you back. This place isn't the same as it was before." His tone was gentle but firm, nudging her to confront her fears. "I know," Clara admitted, looking down at her shoes. "But what if they laugh again? What if I don't fit in?" Jake's expression softened. "You're not that person anymore. You're stronger than you think. Plus, we're all friends inside. No one will judge you." His words hung in the air, offering a glimmer of hope. Clara felt a flicker of warmth in her chest as she met his eyes. Maybe Jake was right. Perhaps it was time to step beyond her fears and embrace the laughter she longed for instead of waiting outside as an observer. As Clara stood outside the saloon, the familiar sounds of laughter and music swirled around her, wrapping her in a moment of temptation. She watched a group of friends enter, their faces lit up with excitement and warmth. The glow from within seemed to beckon her closer, and for a heartbeat, she felt a rush of longing that was almost overwhelming. What would it be like to be part of that joy? To dance and laugh without hesitation? A flicker of hope ignited inside her, but just as quickly, doubt crept back in. Images of past embarrassments surfaced, mocking laughter and judgmental stares. But then she remembered Jake's encouraging words. "You're stronger than you think." Clara took a deep breath and stepped forward, feeling the ground shift beneath her. Her heart raced as thoughts battled in her mind. What if I don't fit in? Versus, what if they welcome me? She caught sight of familiar faces inside, friends who had cheered for her at previous events. But self-doubt fought fiercely against any glimmer of confidence. She closed her eyes for a moment, envisioning herself stepping through the door. Laughter surrounded her like a warm embrace, pulling her closer, but fears tugged at her heartstrings. Just then, the door swung open wide enough for a gentle breeze to escape, inviting Clara to take that leap. In that fleeting moment, she was caught between two worlds, the familiarity of isolation outside and the siren call of companionship inside. As she hesitated on the threshold, Clara knew there lay a choice between fear and possibility, waiting for her decision to tip the balance. This Friday felt different from the start. As Clara stood outside the saloon, she noticed a crowd gathering around a newcomer who had just arrived. A tall man with bright, wild hair and a smile that radiated warmth. He wore a vibrant red shirt that contrasted sharply with the muted tones of the evening, and his laughter cut through the usual sounds of the saloon like a joyful trumpet. Inside, Clara saw him as he danced with an infectious energy, drawing people in with a magnetism she hadn't seen before. The townsfolk, usually comfortable in their familiar routines, seemed captivated by his charm. Even Jake was among them, his face beaming as he cheered for the new arrival. Clara's heart raced at the sight. She felt an unfamiliar stirring within her, a mix of curiosity and yearning. For the first time, she considered that this might be her moment to step inside. The new man's presence shifted the atmosphere from casual camaraderie to something electric, and Clara found herself inching closer to the door. However, as she moved forward, doubt crept back in. What if he didn't notice her? What if they all laughed again? The thrill of watching a stranger ignite joy among her friends also reminded her of her fears. She hesitated again, caught in a whirlwind of excitement and anxiety. Clara's heart thumped loudly in her chest as she weighed her options. To remain outside and observe, or take a chance on stepping into a world that was suddenly filled with possibility. The vibrant energy from within tugged at her like a gentle whisper, urging her to embrace the unexpected change that had entered her routine. Clara stood at the threshold of the saloon, her heart racing as she watched the vibrant scene unfold inside. The newcomer's laughter mingled with music, creating a melody that tugged at her very soul. He was effortlessly charming, drawing people in like a moth to a flame, and for the first time she felt an overwhelming urge to join in. But as excitement surged within her, so did a tidal wave of doubt. Clara's mind raced with questions. What if I embarrass myself again? What if I don't belong? Each thought felt like a chain binding her to the ground. Just beyond the door lay laughter and warmth, a world she longed for but feared stepping into. She took a small step forward, feeling the cool breeze brush against her skin, sending shivers of anticipation through her body. The door seemed to whisper promises of friendship and joy, yet Clara hesitated. She could see Jake laughing with his friends, their faces bright with happiness, yet she felt like a shadow lingering on the edge. A sudden burst of laughter erupted from inside, causing her heart to flutter painfully in her chest. It was as if that sound reached out to her, urging her to take that leap of faith. She closed her eyes for just a moment, envisioning herself stepping inside, embraced by the warmth and camaraderie. In that heartbeat of silence, Clara realized this was more than just entering a room. It was about breaking free from years of fear and isolation. With every ounce of courage she could muster, she knew it was decision time. Would she remain outside as an observer or take the plunge into a new beginning? Taking a deep breath, Clara gathered her courage and stepped through the door of the saloon. The moment she crossed the threshold, a wave of warmth and laughter enveloped her, contrasting sharply with the cool night air outside. Clara's heart raced as the vibrant atmosphere rushed in, reminding her of everything she had been missing. For a moment, she felt frozen, standing just inside as familiar faces turned to greet her. Jake's eyes lit up with surprise and joy, and he waved her over, beckoning her to join the fun. The newcomer paused mid-laughter and glanced at her with an inviting smile that made Clara's stomach flutter. Despite her lingering doubts, something shifted within her. She no longer felt like just an observer. The walls that had confined her for so long began to crumble as she took a few tentative steps further into the room. With each beat of music and burst of laughter, her worries faded like distant echoes. Clara was no longer just Clara, the woman who waited outside. She was part of something bigger. As she moved toward Jake and the others, she felt a mixture of exhilaration and relief wash over her. It was a revelation. The joy she had watched from afar was now hers to experience. In that moment, Clara realized that stepping inside wasn't about fitting in or proving herself. It was about embracing who she truly was, someone worthy of laughter, friendship, and connection. With newfound confidence bubbling inside her, Clara smiled brightly as she joined the circle of friends, ready to face whatever came next in this vibrant new chapter of her life. As Clara laughed and danced with her friends in the saloon, a profound realization washed over her. Waiting outside had kept her from experiencing life fully. The warmth of connection she felt inside opened her eyes to the possibilities that awaited her, not just in the saloon but in every aspect of her life. No longer did she view herself as merely an outsider. She was part of a vibrant community that welcomed her for who she truly was. This experience ignited a spark within Clara, shifting how she perceived future Fridays. Instead of seeing them as another chance to linger outside as a ghost, she now viewed them as opportunities for growth and connection. Each week would hold the potential for new friendships, laughter, and cherished memories waiting to unfold. Clara felt a sense of empowerment growing within her, knowing she had conquered a significant fear. She understood that stepping into the unknown might be daunting at times, but it also offered rich rewards. With each heartbeat, she embraced the idea that vulnerability could lead to joy and belonging. As the music swirled around her and laughter echoed off the wooden walls, Clara thought about what lay ahead. She looked forward to forming deeper bonds with her friends and perhaps even discovering more about herself along the way. The future was no longer filled with uncertainty. It shimmered with promise, inviting her to dance into each new Friday with an open heart and an adventurous spirit.